Welcome, everyone. We're going to talk about content marketing tonight. We're going to talk a little bit about what is content marketing, how to create a content marketing strategy, most importantly, how to repurpose and reuse content, and how to measure the return on investment of content, okay? Because that's truly important, and that's something that you will definitely want to do. Now, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Toni Coleman-Brown. I'm a mother and a wife, an author, a coach, and a friend. I'm also a master lead generator and trainer. I've hosted hundreds of workshops and trained thousands of people over the years on how to build their capacity with digital marketing, as well as so much more. So before I really get into anything, I have to talk to you guys about my why. And you know, they say your why should make you cry. And my two daughters are definitely my why. Sasha and Taylor, they are the reason why I do what I do. I love these girls so much. I have to tell you that I would just walk to the moon and back for my babies. And they're a piece of work, but they're my piece of work. How about that? So let's get right into this, all right? Content marketing, what is it? According to the Content Marketing Institute, they define content marketing as a strategic marketing approach that's focused on creating and distributing valuable, relevant, and consistent content to attract and retain a clearly defined audience, and ultimately to drive profitable customer action, okay? Now, let's break that down a little bit. So they say it's a strategic marketing approach. So of course, when you're developing content, you want to be strategic. And the content that you create definitely should be valuable, and most importantly, it should be relevant. Now, you want to make sure that when you're pushing out content that you're consistent, and you want to be consistent because you want to really, position yourself as an influencer, and you want to attract and retain a clearly defined audience. And ultimately, right, why we do what we do when it comes down to content, of course, we want to get customer action. We want to have positive and profitable customer action. Now, all customer action doesn't necessarily mean a sale. Sometimes customer action could mean a lead, and a lead could definitely at some point convert to a sale, but you want some type of conversion, right? So most of the time when we push out content, we also always have a call to action. And the call to action could be anything from learn more to read more, book now or watch now or buy now or download. And that's just to name a few. But there could be a whole plethora of different actions that people can take. Because, for example, you can push out a quiz and have someone take a quiz, and then they would have to leave their name and email address to get the results. That's also action that could lead to profits. So the profits doesn't necessarily have to come right away. It can come at a later time, but you definitely want some type of positive conversion, whether that's somebody, clicking over to learn more or clicking over to book a discovery call with you, right? So what are some of the biggest challenges that people say they face when it comes down to content marketing? Most people say they don't have the budget, they don't have the staff, or they don't have the time. That's the biggest thing. Like I've worked with a lot of entrepreneurs, and one of the biggest things I hear most people say is that, you know what, I just don't have time to do that. I'm working with a new client right now, and she, has this love-hate relationship with social media. And I'm really teaching her how she could utilize social media in a different way to get the results that she's looking for. It doesn't have to be stressful, guys. But good content can truly attract your ideal customer or client. It definitely can convert website traffic into leads and sales. And it can also establish you as an industry leader or expert. Now, that's important because at the end of the day, you guys want to be people of influence when it comes down to your business. And when you push out good content, you definitely can do that. You know, if I had to say there was one thing that really has helped me with my business, it's the tremendous amount of content that I've been able to push out over the years. I mean, I have so much content until it really sometimes scares me, okay? So when it comes down to your digital marketing strategy, whether that's to generate leads or generate sales, you know, on the internet or even offline, you know, content has to be at the center of that. And content marketing really does, because when you think about it, content really drives your social media strategy. If you're doing search engine optimization, that is primarily driven by content. And if you have a website, you know, and you're looking to build an authority website, that's driven by content as well. And content comes in so many formats. It could be a blog post, it could be a newsletter, it could be a checklist. Content could be a podcast. You might have a virtual telesummit or a webinar or a masterclass, or you can create case studies or videos. All of that stuff is content. When you do Facebook Lives is content, guys. It's all content, and it can truly work in terms of attracting the right people to you. And it's you know, content can be a really funny thing, but at the end of the day, it really doesn't have to be hard. You know, it really should align with everything that you're already doing with your business. So if you have specific goals and objectives for the next 6 months of the year, you want to create a content strategy that is really surrounded, you know, by those objectives. You don't want the content to drive the objectives. You want the objectives to drive the content, because, you know, when it comes down to content marketing, that I believe that there are 4 pillars of it. You have to plan, you have to create, and you have to distribute your content. But most importantly, you have to measure your content. You know, now the planning, the creating, and the distributing, that's all a part of your content strategy. Now, your outcomes, right? What you're going to be measuring, that's content marketing. Now, people get caught up really on the strategy, which is the planning, the creation, and distribution, when really they should be spending more time getting caught up on the outcomes, because really the outcomes should be, you know, wrapped around your business objectives. And, you know, we would hope that you would have some really hardcore business objectives, like, say, for instance, for the next 6 months of the year, if your goal is to get to 100K in income, then what you want to do is you want to make sure that you have your content strategy wrapped around that outcome of 100K. You don't want to have your content, you know, driving what your outcomes are. You want to have your outcome. So it's almost like you want to start with the end in mind. So if you have these 4 pillars of content marketing, you really want to start with the outcome. So what outcomes are you looking to obtain through content marketing? And it's just like I said, strategy is really focused on the development, the content, the planning, the distribution, and really the, you know, content marketing is really focused on the outcome. So you want to spend more time on that outcome. But when it comes down to the planning part of it, you know, what you want to focus on is, you know, what tools you're going to use to push out your content, what resources you have available to you right now, what different types of content you're going to create, or, like creating it and managing it. And, for a lot of us, to be quite honest with you, you probably already have a lot of content that you're not even really utilizing. And I'm going to give you an example of this. Say, for instance, you're someone who maybe you created an article or a blog post. And let me give you, like a real firm and solid example of this. I recently hired someone to work with me, and I hired that person to create some content for me, some articles for my blogs. And I have multiple blogs. I don't just have one. I have blogs in different niches. I have blogs in the entrepreneurial niche, female entrepreneurial niche, and health and wellness, right? So I hired her to create a blog post for me. And she created a couple of awesome blog posts, like 30 to be honest with you, and they're really, really good. And one of the blog posts was about, creating a DUNS number, right, for your business. And so it was like why everybody should have a DUNS number in their business. And like most people don't even really know what a DUNS number is, and they don't really know what it does for you and for your business. So one of the things I did with that particular article is I utilized that article to actually read it, discuss it, and I made a podcast episode out of it. So for every blog article you have, you can create a podcast episode out of it. And, one of the things I did was launch a new podcast because in August next month, I'm launching the Entrepreneur Success University. And what I'm doing is I'm building up my list through the podcast, which has been working really well. And I'm really, really excited about that. I always say that, I love podcasting, and I think that that's really a thing. And there's so many websites, but they're nowhere near as many podcasts as there are websites. And I think that when people find a good podcast, they just love listening to it. And so I repurposed that content, but I repurposed it for a purpose. So a lot of you, like I said, if you really sit down and think about it, many of you probably already have a lot of content that you can already repurpose and reuse, right? So you want to make sure, like I said before, that when you're doing this, you're focused on the outcome, right? And not necessarily focusing on building and creating the content itself. So, don't overspend time on the strategy and creation part, but definitely spend a lot of time on what outcomes you want to happen. So sometimes you may want to increase revenue. Sometimes, maybe like all the time. All the time we might want to increase revenue. Sometimes you want to build awareness, when it comes down to content. And all of those things are good because a lot of times when we're first building out our audience, people don't know who we are. And really and truly, every business, each and every one of us, whether you're a coach, whether you're someone who's a social media strategist, whether you're someone who's a social media marketer, or if that's your business, whether you're someone who you're selling jewelry, whatever it is you're doing, every customer has a journey that they go on with you. And you want to build your content really and truly around where everyone is in that journey, as well as your business objectives. Now, we're going to go into what that could look like. But when it comes down to your outcomes and your objectives, you really want to make sure whatever you're looking to do, your content aligns with it. So, for example, your main objective may be to generate leads. And if that's your ultimate objective, then some of the things that you might want to do if you want to generate leads is you want to create lead capture pages. And if you're creating lead capture pages, then you want to have a giveaway, a freebie. So you may create, an ebook or article or a guide or a checklist or something like that so that people can download these things. And then you will measure the success through click-through rates and leads that are generated, right? So if the objective is lead generation, then you're going to have a mechanism to generate leads, which is like a capture page, and your content would be an ebook, a checklist, a webinar, or whatever. So that's what your content would be. So can you see how you would wrap your content creation around what your overall business objective is? So for example, if your objective is to generate sales, well, then you know that you're going to have to probably build a sales page, or you might have to have a video sales letter, and some of the content that you might create around that is, you might do some demos, you might have some coupons, you might have some endorsements, you might have some product features and things like that. So this is the content that you're going to build up around the idea of generating sales. And how you would measure that is through your sales conversion rates, right? So if your ultimate objective is brand awareness, then some of the things that you might do is Facebook Lives or Instagram Lives, or you might create some infographics, or you might do press releases. And how you may measure the success of that is if people are viewing it, if people are liking it, if people are sharing it, then you can, really see the success of that. So this is what I'm talking about when I say start with the end in mind. Start with the objective first, and then build the content around that. So like I said before, planning is key. And basically you want to decide, once you know what your objective is, what kind of content you're going to create. Who are you creating the content for? What's the purpose of the content? What's your end goal and objective, right? Why are you creating the content? What specific keywords should you target? Because that has to do with your ideal audience and who, you're looking to really attract. You want to make sure if you're going after specific keywords that they're low competition keywords so that you can rank on search engines. And if you're really into like search engine optimization, then you're going to want to use some keyword tools, right? And one of the best keyword tools is SEMrush. That's a paid tool, and you can utilize that to really analyze specific keywords. You can use keywords everywhere. There's a free version and a paid version. There's Keyword Keg. If you have a WordPress blog, you can use SEO by Yoast. If you are looking to target keywords on YouTube, you can use TubeBuddy. If you want to know what people are asking questions about, you can go to Answer the Public online, and you can type in any keyword and it'll give you all of the different questions people are asking about that specific keyword. So these are things that's going to get your engines running. That's going to get you really excited about planning that content, figuring out exactly what content you're going to put together and what you're going to use. But I have to tell you that good keyword planning can get you #1 on Google. So I like to, when I'm really into keyword analysis and I'm looking to really get to the top of Google because of a keyword, one of the things that I never do is I never look for a 1-word keyword or a 2-word keyword, like weight loss. I would never try to rank for weight loss or skin care. No, I would not do that, because at the end of the day, that's way too broad. and millions and gajillions of people are, seeking to rank for that. I would always look for a long tail keyword, and a long tail keyword is like this: continuous learning is the key to success. So I would use a phrase. And the reason why I would do that is because this is how people search. People don't just search weight loss. People search for weight loss for women over 50, or weight loss for women going through menopause. That's how people search. So if you're ever in the business of, trying to rank on Google because you want to, be on the first page, then my friend, let me tell you, you need to use a long tail keyword. I did an article a long time ago, a blog post, continuous learning is the key to success. And you can see I did that, wow, it's 3 years ago, and it still pops up when you type this in. You could type this in, you could go and do it, try it out right now. Type in continuous learning is the key to success, and you'll see my website still comes up on the first page of Google. So this actually works, guys. And remember when I said you want to plan your content in a way that aligns with your customer's journey? Everybody's customer has a journey that they go on with you. And like I said, it doesn't matter if you're a coach. It doesn't matter if you're selling earrings, clothes. It doesn't matter what you're selling. Every customer goes through a journey. And, it starts with awareness, because first they have to be aware that you exist. And that's why people run ads and all of that stuff, so they can create that interruption. So when you create that interruption, people are like, whoa, wait, what? Like, what happened? And, she said, what? And so you're creating an awareness that you exist. And then once you get their attention, whether it's in the ever so fast news feed, or whether or not, somebody's video surfing and you pop up, hey girl, hey, did you know that such and such, such and such, and that's your video ad, you're interrupting them, right? And then if you interrupt them in a way that really gets their attention, then they're willing to go to the next step and give you some consideration. So like in that first, 5 minutes, whatever, your video scrolling through, or your video popping up on somebody else's video in a YouTube ad, and you say the right things, then people will be like, wait a minute, and they might click. And once they click, they want to hear a little bit more about what you have to say. So you've created the awareness, and then you've created the consideration. So you see, you can create awareness through PR, radio, TV. Now see, when I said a YouTube video that pops up and interrupts, to me, YouTube video is the new TV radio ad, okay? Word of mouth, it could be word of mouth, somebody saying something. It could be an ad. Like I said, people are scrolling through and your ad pops up, it creates that interruption. It can be an email. You put an email out there with the right subject line and people are scrolling, and boom, it captures their attention. So you're creating that awareness, so that the next thing they can do is give you consideration. And the consideration usually happens, sometimes it happens in the ad, right? So the consideration is, you know what, she got my attention. And they click on more on the ad on social, right? And they read it a little bit longer, and then they click the button and it go to the website. So now they're giving you real consideration. And then from the consideration, then they make the purchase, right? Now, once they make the purchase, you want to retain them, you want to keep them. And then what happens is, once you retain people and you keep them in your sphere, you actually can increase the lifetime value of that person by actually having them spend more money with you. And then what happens is that person becomes your advocate. There's this concept of 1,000 fans, and many of you probably have heard it. It's 1,000 true fans. And the saying goes like this. I think somebody wrote a book about it. I'll find out and, let you guys know. But 1,000 true fans is what anybody everybody really only needs 1,000 true fans. Because if you have 1,000 true fans that will spend money with you all the time, then you will never go broke. So everybody's ultimate goal should be to get to that 1,000 new fan. And, they become your advocates. And I mean, one of the things that they don't have over here on this side, which they should have here, is affiliates. They say, oh, blogs, social networks, promotions. But guess what? Your advocates will become your affiliates. And once they become your affiliates, then they'll begin to market and promote whatever you have to offer for you, right? So they'll do it for you. So you don't have to, necessarily worry about selling stuff for yourself. They'll sell it for you, right? So most people go online to seek answers to questions. And when it comes down to taking your customer on a journey to the sale and the purchase, what you want to do is you can start by making a list of your most frequently asked questions by your clients. And then you can really begin to build a lot of the content that you want to create to reach your objective, which most of us, our objectives are sales. We really want to just begin to wrap our content around that so that at every step, when there's awareness, your customer has questions. When they're considering, your customer has questions. When they're reviewing your content, your customer has questions. When they're trying to choose, your customer has questions. So if you put your mind, put yourself in the mind of your customer, you will be converting them from the very beginning. So let me give you an example of this. If you've ever seen somebody who has interrupted your experience on social media by saying something like, have you ever struggled to generate leads for your business? Or they'll say something like, have you ever wanted to pack your webinars with customers? Or they'll say something like, do you ever have a hard time getting people engaged in your Facebook group? They start out with a question. Let me tell you guys, this is big, okay? I hope you are writing it down. They start out with a question, and let me pause for a minute and come back to the stage and see if you have what you guys are saying in the chat. You guys are saying you're excited to learn. What else you're saying? Oh, Charlene says she thinks it was Seth Godin who said the 1,000 true fans. And do we get a copy of the slides? Sure, Charlotte. I'll email a copy of the slides out to everybody that attended tonight. But good to hear these questions. If you guys have any additional questions, definitely make sure to type them in the chat. Zenobia had a question. She said, what is a DUNS number? That was something that I spoke about earlier before. And let me just pause for a minute to tell you what it is. A DUNS number is what a social security number is for your business. Everybody should have a DUNS number, right? So a DUNS number is a 9-digit number that's assigned to you by Dun & Bradstreet, and it determines business credit worthiness. And just like your social security number determines your personal credit worthiness, your DUNS number will tell the business world what your business credit worthiness is. So everybody should have a DUNS number, especially at a certain point in time when you want to get financing for your business, or you want to prove that you are worth an investment if you're going for a major contract. Okay. All right. So I'm glad you guys are engaged, but ask your questions in the chat, and I will definitely answer them as we go along. I don't have too many more slides, but as we go along, I will answer them. But just like I was saying, most of the interruptions that you guys will see on social media will come in the form of a question. Anybody that is worth their salt in copywriting will tell you, start with questions, because here's the thing. think about this customer journey and the questions that they'll ask along the way. So like say for instance, if you are launching a course and people are going to want to know, well, how long is the course? Well, how long are the videos? And I mean, and do I have somebody to help me one-on-one? Can I get a coach along with that? What if I get stuck? Do I get my money back? What if I can't complete it? Like these are the things, these are the questions that people have before they make a buying decision, right? Well, why should I buy with that person? Who are they? What kind of success have they had? All right. So when you write down all of those questions and you begin to answer them, then you could build every bit of content that you have around those questions. And say, for instance, if the question is, have you ever struggled to generate leads on your business? Well, if you have, trust me, I've been there. I know how that is too. So when you create your content, whether it's a video, whether it's an article, then everything is going to answer all of those questions. And at the end you'll say, something like, oh, well, if you take my magic lead generation course, it's an 8-week course. This is what we're going to cover. You're going to answer all of the questions. You're going to answer the questions that create awareness. You're going to answer the questions that people have when they're considering. You're going to answer the questions when people are reviewing. Things like, yeah, you may hear me talk about how great this is, but listen to what Leona had to say, or listen to what Mary had to say. And basically, you're going to want to have testimonials. So basically, this is what happens during the customer journey. And if you have all of the questions kind of written out, you can create your content around all of those questions that will make the conversion just that much easier, right? So when you are working on creating your content, remember that you can always repurpose and reuse your content. That's the beauty of it, right? Because a good blog post could go a long way, honey. A good post could, be created into a video. Videos can be transcribed to blog posts. You can transcribe your Facebook Lives. You can transcribe a podcast. You can strip audio from a webinar or a training, and you can make that a podcast episode. You can take your blogs and you can read them live and create that as a video. That could be your Facebook Live. I mean, there's so many things that you can do, so many ways that you can repurpose and reuse content. And if you like to do a lot of video or audio content, what's cool about that is the fact that you can actually transcribe that. There's a website called rev.com, and you can transcribe that. And before you know it, if you do a series of videos and you have them all transcribed, before you know it, you probably will have a book. And what's really cool about that is, you can outline it and then you can record it and transcribe it. And before you know it, you have like a 100-page or 125-page book. Just imagine the possibilities, guys. It's amazing. So, like I said, you want to focus on the outcomes and you want to measure your content. And, whatever the objective is, if the objective is to generate leads, if the objective is to generate sales or to drive traffic, whatever it is, to get page views, whatever it is, you want to measure the outcome. And most people really use content to generate leads. And a lot of times that's because people know once they get a good lead, you can convert them into a sale. Now, it may take a long time, but at the end of the day, it'll be worth it. Even if you have to send out emails onto your list for years. I think that people have been on my list for years, and then all of a sudden one day they wake up and decide, you know what, I think I'm going to join now. She's been emailing me for like 5 years, and she's been consistent, and she really doing her thing now. I think she the real deal. Look at her, she's doing her thing. So yeah, I'm gonna give her a try now. So sometimes people can be on your list for years. I was looking at an article and people were saying, oh, I drop people off my list after 5 emails. I would never drop people off my list after 5 emails, because guess what? People could have been on your list for years. Do you know you could wake the dead with a good email campaign? So I would not stop and I would not drop people. Sometimes you can move them off of your list and put them on an inactive list that you just really don't mail to. But from time to time, you can mail to them. You could just say, hey, these were my inactives. And just, set them to the side. People who haven't opened your emails in years, set them to the side. And every now and again, send them an email and try to wake the dead. You'd be surprised what happens. But you definitely want to measure your return on your investment. So like, for example, if you are having a campaign and your end goal is to make $5,000, but you spent $500, what you want to do is take the $5,000, subtract the 500, and divide it by the spend, multiply it times 100, and then you can see what your return on investment was. So, $5,000 off of a $500 spend, if you're spending money for, content marketing, that's a really good return on investment. So you don't even have to do the math to see if you put $500 in and get $5,000 out, that's a good return on your investment. So you definitely want to, pay attention to these things. Make sure that you're not spending $500 and not making zero, or you're spending $500 and making $500. You always want to make sure that you are earning more than you're spending. Okay? So here's the thing, and this is what I hear all the time, and I only have a few more slides left. I hear that content marketing is overwhelming. And one of the reasons why content marketing can be so overwhelming to people, and you know what, type in the chat if you feel overwhelmed oftentimes by developing content for your business. Well, I have to tell you that it's overwhelming for a lot of people because a lot of times it takes different hats to, build up content campaigns. And a lot of people that do it and do it really well, they have a team. They have a videographer who edits, they have a good copywriter, they have a good social media strategist, they have an analyst, a designer, a content strategist, a brand developer, and all together, all of these jobs, come together to build a strategy for you. Now, here's the thing. Everybody exhale right now. Just take a deep breath in and exhale out. Do it one more time. Deep breath in and exhale out. Just relax. Because you don't need to be all of these people to create something great for yourself. But what you can do is you can put together a nice team of freelancers, to create some things that, some good pieces of content that you can use over a period of time. But, what you don't want to do is invest a whole lot of money unless you have it. Invest a whole lot of money on all of these different things. But you can hire some people for some of these jobs. You can hire unpaid interns to be your videographer, your editor. You can actually create a team of all of these people that are like juniors or seniors in college right now, that are majoring in videography, video editing, copywriting, finance, and all of this stuff, social media marketing. and build a team of volunteers first, so that you don't have to overwhelm yourself or, like hurt yourself and feel like, oh my God, I just don't know what I'm doing. This is just too much. Hire a team of volunteers first. And, you would be surprised what young people can bring to the table as it relates to your strategy and what you need for your business. And what you may need is not what you think. You may think that you need, like you see this person and it's like, oh my God, da, 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 da. It may be something as simple as, I need you to go in your car, play some music, play some really bumping music, and put your video on. And, take a picture of yourself while you're in the car bopping to the beat. And then you give it to your freelancer and they add some words to it and you put it on TikTok. It could be as simple as that. It could be as simple as you, doing your favorite dance or whatever, and then giving it to your videographer and having them add words. You know how people do the whole thing? They dancing and then they dancing and then they dancing and then they okay, and and then you do it and then let somebody else do the rest. Don't make it hard for yourself, and definitely don't feel like you need to spend thousands and thousands of dollars. Take your smartphones and make them your friend, and you'll be surprised what you could put together. But you need a team, but it doesn't have to be always paid people. It could be a team of volunteers. And you would be surprised what you can have happen in your business when you put together a team of volunteers. Get some interns. My daughter is interning now, and I have to tell you that the woman has a bunch of interns, and all they're doing is viewing her social media, looking at her content, and giving her feedback. Wouldn't you love to have like 6 interns doing that for you right now? Can you imagine the possibilities? Take advantage of the free resources that are out there, guys, and they are there. And there are a lot of people that are looking to gain experience, and they're looking for really good projects so that they can move their business forward. So here are some of the tools and resources that can make things easier for you. Canva is definitely one. We love Canva. Post Planner is another one. I love Post Planner because you can source good content. You don't have to create it. You could just find it and reuse it. Hootsuite is another one. Tailwind is great. Trello is good for planning. I love Slack as well for planning. Fiverr is great for finding freelancers. And so is Upwork. You would be surprised what you can find on these platforms. And when it comes down to it, really and truly, guys, all you need is one good sales funnel. Now, let me not confuse you with that word sales funnel, because, a lot of people, when they think of funnel, this is what they think about right here, right? This whole funnel and getting people into the funnel. That would be your leads, pushing them through the funnel, and then getting some sales, right? So it starts, though, all right here with a good piece of content. And right here in this example, it's a good blog post. So if you could send traffic to a blog post and get people to opt in from the blog to the opt-in page, then you could take them to the confirmation page. Then what can happen is you put them in a 4-day email sequence, right? And the 4-day email sequence eventually takes them to the sales page, and people will either buy at this point or they will continue to your main mailing list after the 6th day or 7th day or whatever. But this is how I feel about email marketing, right? I personally feel like my mentor told me, and I believe that this is the reason why he was so rich. Now, one of the things that he said was he believed that 2 emails a day can keep the job away. I believe that I don't believe that 4 emails can do it. I don't even believe that 10 emails can do it. Sometimes it takes a lot of emails. And I just believe that you should email people until they unsubscribe or buy. That's my mentor's advice to me. He said, keep emailing them until they unsubscribe or buy, and you get to the point where you just love the unsubscribes, because the quicker you can get rid of the people who don't want to hear from you, the quicker you can get to your 1,000 true fans, because your true fans will never get off your email list, and they will stay there until they buy. And then your real true fans will buy once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. And you're just increasing the lifetime value of that customer. And that's what you want. And that's what email marketing does. And I believe that you just keep emailing them people until they buy. But it all starts, my friend, with some good old content. So this is Tony Coleman-Brown, and you guys, I don't have anything to sell tonight, but I'll tell you this one thing. You can definitely become a member of the Network for Women in Business if you so do choose, right? I think we might have a link somewhere around in the event that you can use to join the Network for Women in Business. And if not, I'm going to drop one in at some point tonight. And, really and truly, this is the only way you can join, because I think if you go to the main page, it says that membership is closed, because we are closed for the summer. But if you're still interested, I definitely can provide you guys with a link, and you can become a member. And we have weekly group coaching where we talk about everything. You can get all your business questions answered. And it's really cool, because sometimes you just need a little help in your business, right? You just need someone to point you in the right direction, help you to feel like, you know what, I'm not crazy. Am I crazy for thinking about this? And that's what we do in the Network for Women in Business. If you feel like you've gone off track, we help you get back on track. Okay? That's what we do. So Bonnie wants to know, where do we find interns? Well, you can go to the Career Services Office of any local college or university, and you can post up a job on their job boards, or you can go to Indeed.com and post up an internship job description on Indeed, and potentially get an intern from anywhere in the United States. How about that? Yeah, Teresa said she loves Canva and she wants to use sales funnels. Great ideas. Yes. Overwhelming and time consuming. Sheila says, overwhelmed. I hope you guys took a deep breath. Just relax. Just relax. What do you mean strip content? What is that, the EIN number? You're talking about the DUNS number. Okay, I'm going to go back and I'm going to answer your questions. So, no, your DUNS number is not your EIN number. That's different. Your DUNS number is a number that you can get from Dun & Bradstreet, and you can get it in 24 hours. It is a 9-digit number, not your EIN number. You can use your EIN number to get your DUNS number, but your DUNS number is what people use to establish your business credit worthiness. Your business credit worthiness. So think of Social Security number for the individual, DUNS number for the business. I hope that makes sense. And what do I mean by strip content? What I mean is, like, if you have an article, right, and your article has like maybe 3 or 4 different sections from it, what you can do is you can peel off a piece of that content and create a whole video about it. You don't have to create the video about the whole article, but you can peel off a piece of it and you can go live and talk about it, right? And that's what I mean by strip content. Or if you have a video and you want to create a podcast that's not video, that's just audio, you can take a video, an MP4 file, and you can strip the audio from it. And now you just have audio that you can edit and put together with an intro and outro and build a podcast. So that's what I mean by strip content. I mean, just peeling off pieces of content that you already have. So if you have a big 1 hour webinar, if you had 5 minutes where you really went off and that content was super, super good, you can peel off that 5 minutes or 1 minute, and you can utilize that for an Insta story. You know what I mean? That's what I mean by stripping content. All right. Yeah. Can you use landing pages to do lead generation? Absolutely. That's what landing pages are for. And landing pages usually always have an opt-in box where somebody can put their name and email address in the opt-in box to generate a lead. And there are a couple of places where you can do that and do that very well for free. One is with Aweber, because they now have landing pages that you can use even with the free account. But another place that you can do it and do it really well, and they have awesome templates, is leadpages.com. And I love Lead Pages because if you have a WordPress website, you can actually create a page on Lead Pages and embed it in your website. And you can update it in Lead Pages and it automatically updates in your WordPress site. It's amazing, beautiful, lovely. I love it. If you have more than one business, do you apply for different DUNS numbers? I would, absolutely, I would get a different number for each of the different businesses. But if you have like multiple businesses under one EIN number, then you'll use that main business for the DUNS number. Okay, do you guys have any other questions? So really quickly, we have a sponsor for today's event. And that sponsor is none other than Miss Deborah Bryson. And Deborah, if you're still here, lady, you can utilize the link that I gave you earlier so that you can come on the main stage, Deborah, if you're here. Just use that link and come back in so we can have a conversation with you. So let me stop the screen sharing, and hopefully Deborah can come in and come with us live. But, Deborah is someone who is a sponsor of this event tonight, and I have to tell you, I want to talk to you a little bit more about her organization, okay? And let me see if we could definitely do this. And I hope you guys looked on the main stage and saw the information about her organization, because it's a health and wellness company, and you definitely, want to learn more about this health and wellness company. It's called MyQ Sciences, and it is just pretty darn amazing. You can get protein drinks, you can get all types of amazing products to help you and your health and your wellness. I'm going to drop her link here for IQ Sciences because she may be having some technical difficulties as it relates to logging in. But Teresa says, what about an LLC? Yeah, you can get a DUNS number for your LLC, Teresa, for sure. Charlotte says, you just mentioned creating a page that can be embedded in a WordPress site. What site is that? I'm going to drop that in the chat too. It's leadpages.com. And let me do it like this so that it can hyperlink. Leadpages.com. There we go. So you guys can go to leadpages.com and definitely see all of the different landing pages. What's really cool, let me tell you, for those of you who are WordPress users, right? If you're a WordPress user, you're going to love this. If you're a WordPress user and you have lead pages, you can go into your WordPress dashboard and you can download the Lead Pages plugin, and you can connect your lead pages to your WordPress website. And when you go to publish a landing page, an opt-in page, whatever it is from Lead Pages, you can publish it directly into your websites, and it will have the URL of your website and not those clunky Lead Pages URL. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. I actually used it with a client, and it worked really, really well. And it's connected with her website. I'm going to give you guys an example of what that looks like. Hold on one second. I'm going to get the link. Recently, we had a client that launched a book, and Proverbs 31 woman. And this is what we did, and hopefully you guys will be able to see this. I'm going to put that in the chat, and you'll see that it has her name and her website, and it just has the name of the page, but that's a lead page that's now embedded in her website. It's super, super cool. All right, so Deborah did not make it on the live tonight, but she is a sponsor for the event tonight. And what I want to do is I actually want to show her business website. And basically, this is her business website. And it always says this, that I need to enter in her name and email address. But if you go to her business website, you can definitely put in her name, Deborah Bryson. And as you can see, this is it here, Deborah Bryson. And then you can, like go to her website. They have some cool products. And I'm just so appreciative of Deborah. I'm sorry that she didn't get the link so that she could come up to the stage to really tell us more about her products. But it's called Q Sciences. So definitely check her out, okay? But now we're in the live virtual networking segment of the event. You want to become one of my clients, Tony? Okay, well, we'll talk about that a little bit later. Yeah, definitely. Oh, you were having technical difficulty. It's okay. It's okay. I understand. But now we're going to go, ladies. You guys see that the networking has started. You see the little on the left-hand side of your screen. You probably see the networking light over here that's up that says now. Now we have actually an hour of networking